Assalamu alaikum wa rahmathullahi wa barakatuhu. We are now at serial number 023 of the series Defeat the Shaytaan. Innal hamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So far we covered the shaitan attacking us from the front, from behind, from the right, and now we look into how he attacks us from the left. Now the word shama'il, as mentioned in the ayah, comes from the word shamala. Shamala is something where you include something else into this. Like mujhko usme shamil kar diya. That is one meaning. Another meaning is the left side, and basically the use of the left hand. In all major cultures, including Arab culture, our basic hand is our right hand. We do work with it, write with it, carry things with it, and all the good deeds that we do are basically from the right hand. But when we are carrying something heavy, which the right hand alone cannot support, we automatically bring in the left hand to share the weight. Just keep this in mind. Also, in many cultures, including the Arabic culture, the right is associated with something good, the left is associated with something not so good. In Latin, the right hand is called dexter, from which the English word dexterity, which means to have good skill, proficiency, etc., is derived. The left hand in Latin is called sinister, which in English is something that is evil or bad. The shaitan says, I will slow them down or take their motivation away from doing the good deeds. How? By trying to make them lazy and not so inclined towards it. Like the struggle we have for waking up for Fajr, and other things, delaying or taking our own time in doing certain good things. You tell yourself that I have to recite the Quran. You know you have to do it, but still you don't. Observe here that the shaitan is not encouraging you to do evil things, but he's slowing your ability to do good things. So the human mind as such is not an empty vessel. It has to be filled with something. So if you don't fill it with good deeds, the shaitan takes the opportunity to fill the void by directing us towards the bad deeds. When someone starts slowing down on good deeds, what keeps our connection with Allah is the acts of worship. If shaitan takes down our active remembrance of Allah, little by little, the more he takes you away from it, it is as if you are not watering the plant of your spirituality. As a result of which, the heart becomes harder, weaker, and ultimately starts withering away. This reduces your desire to ask Allah for forgiveness, even the desire to make tawbah to Allah. Under normal circumstances, when the heart is well fed with spirituality and is good, it lets out an alarm to warn you when something bad is being done or you are tempted towards something which is not good. But when the battery itself is dead, the alarm just doesn't go off. When that starts happening, despair takes place, makes you feel hopeless. Thoughts such as, I pray but I don't feel anything. Because the heart is so hard. To the extent that we even ask, why am I even praying? So you have a plant which is withered, and you notice it and you want to start watering the plant. Naturally, it takes time for the plant to get back to normal. The leaves and the fruit don't just pop out all of a sudden when you put some water to the plant. This is how we should expect our heart to grow when we try to get back to ibadah. You got to rejuvenate the heart by putting ibadah little by little, and allow the iman to grow. The shaitan wants us to rush into things, get immediate results. And if we don't see the results right away, he wants us to give up. What's the use of doing all this? Nothing has happened to you. Your iman is still where it was before. So we should realize that it is a process that has to be gone through to get the results that you want. If you have been out of connection with Allah and you're trying to rebuild that, you have to be patient. When someone slows down on his ibadah, such as salah, dua, dhikr, reciting the Quran, reading the Quran, etc., the spiritual connection with Allah gets weakened. Slowly but surely, the shaitan will take him from the right to the left and make him lose all connection with Allah. The heart gets harder and finally ends up with being ungrateful to Allah. There are things that are known evil. Human nature knows that certain things are wrong. The shaitan will make you more and more inclined towards them. One kind of sin, let us look into that. There are evil deeds that we do. We are tempted to do because it gives us something. It gives us some kind of a benefit, either by way of pleasure or money or recognition. Supposing shaitan knows food is necessary. So shaitan will tell us, hey, if you really want good food, that food is the best. Though it is haram, try it. So shaitan wants you to cross that line. Similarly, relations are supposed to be good through knowledge. But he says, why don't you try something out of that? Why not try that? Will not that give you a little more pleasure? Now look at the type of relationships that you see around you. Live in relationships. He wants to beautify evil deeds to such an extent that ultimately the person will say, I can't help myself. You tell yourself, I did it, but what do you want me to do now? What I'm doing now makes me feel good. So why should I stop? Another kind of sin. It's so hideous. It's so ugly. It does not give the person who is doing it any pleasure. They don't even feel good doing it. Sometimes, of course, but not always. For example, when somebody backbites, he gets nothing from it, but still he does it. You hurt somebody with your words. You are not benefiting in any way. When you insult, humiliate, or degrade someone, when you lose your temper, or when you hit someone, when you engage in anything wrong towards another human being, you may not get anything out of it. But that is the way the shaitan pulls you towards the left. You don't even see that this ends up with harming the person doing it, but also the person is harmed not only in this life, but in the hereafter. Another thing, right is referred to a person who is close to you. Like you say, this is my right hand, this is my right side. This friend is on my right. And when you want to keep someone far away, you want to block him and all that, that's the person you push to the left. Putting a person on the left indicates that you're abandoning the person. So the shaitan comes and uses this to tell you that now you have distanced yourself from Allah. So no point in trying to get close. It's better you keep where you are, keep to yourself. Keep yourself far away from that. There are other things which you can think of. Anything that can take you closer to Allah, He will prevent you from doing it. And anything that takes you farther away from Allah, He will keep on pulling you further away. Surah An-Nisa, Surah number 4, Ayah number 27, the interpretation reads, Allah wishes to accept your repentance, but those who follow their lusts wish that you, that means the believers, should deviate tremendously away from the right path. The same Surah An-Nisa, Ayah number 60, the interpretation reads, have you seen those hypocrites who claim that they believe in that which has been sent down to you and that which has been sent down before you, and they wish to go for judgment in whatever disputes they have to the Taghut, which is the false judges, while they have been ordered to reject them. But shaitan wishes to lead them far astray, taking them towards the left. So even when you think of turning back, you are so far away from the right course that you will feel there's no way I can go back all the way now. I'm too far away, so I may as well continue in this. Another thing on the right is the person on your right is the one whom you respect. You hold in a high position. You hold in great honor. When that respect is gone, then we say, you are on my left now. Now, shaitan wants to convince his victims that they have no respect. Nobody respects them at all. Allah does not regard or respect them. They don't respect themselves. So the feeling that comes is, I am filth. So may as well do whatever I want because nobody cares for me anyway. And another thing is, when you hold something from the right, the idea is you are doing things in the right way. For example, you are earning money. But if you want to have more money, what is in your right hand you feel is not enough, what do? You try with both your hands. You bring in the left hand to assist your right hand to do it. In what way? By doing this the wrong way. By earning the same money in a wrong way. Shaitan will make you feel that what you have in your right hand is not enough. What you have earned in the right way is not enough. So involve the left hand. How? By using your greed. Surah number 2 Al-Baqarah, ayah number 268. Interpretation, shaitan threatens you with poverty and orders you to commit fahsha, evil deeds, sins. Whereas Allah promises you forgiveness from Himself and bounty. And Allah is self-sufficient for His creatures' needs. He is the all-knower. The idea of human greed is captured when the shaitan pulls us from the left. Surah At-Taghabun, Surah 64, Ayah 1-6, interpretation. So keep your duty to Allah and fear Him as much as you can. Listen and obey. Spend in charity. That is better for yourselves. And whoever is saved from his own covetousness, then they are the successful ones. So when shaitan gets somebody involved in sin and wrongdoing, he immerses them so much into it that they get completely drowned in that sin. He wants to keep them there. and to make them think that this is the only way they can ever be. You have to justify to yourself what is that sin, what is that evil that allows you to say. Ultimately, what do you say? It is okay, but then I have done some good things also, na? It's fine. Now here's something very subtle. From what we have done so far, we find that the shaitan attacks us from 4 directions. Not from above and not from below. He is not 3-dimensional. What shaitan calls to is falsehood. The opposite of falsehood is truth. And there are 2 truths that will never change. The truth that comes from Allah, which is the revelation, which puts in yaqeen, that is certainty, into our hearts. The other truth is death, below the ground, where you will have to go into ultimately. These 2 things are absolutely certain. You can't escape them. If you focus on what is above and what is below, you will be fine. You are protected from above and below, and the shaitan's attacks from the 4 directions will have no effect on you. There's another beautiful view. The slave of Allah turns upwards in dua and turns downwards in sajda. In dua, you recognize that the shaitan is not powerful. You recognize that you are not powerful. You are the one in need, and you are dependent on Allah. That is why you are looking up to Allah by making a dua. In sajda, we recognize that we are not going to be like the shaitan who refused to do sajda. Sajda is to humble ourselves to the commandment of Allah. These are the ones that the shaitan cannot touch. One more thing. The shaitan did not do sajda because Allah told him to do something and he did not want to do it. If we internalize this and take care of these 2 directions, we will remain secure from the remaining 4 directions. Just think, if Allah had punished shaitan only because he refused to do sajda, imagine the many people who do not perform their salah and thereby don't do sajda. It was not only his refusal to do sajda, the shaitan began blaming Allah, displaying his envy and arrogance and his desire to take revenge and destroy mankind just because Allah called mankind Ashraful Makhlukhat, the most dignified and honored creation of Allah. So every moment of our lives, we should stop the blame game. Don't blame anyone else. Kill our envy, humble our arrogance, and seek brotherhood. Otherwise, na'udhu billah, even if we do make sajda 100 times, the other evils in us cannot save us from the wrath of Allah. May Allah save us from this. It doesn't matter which direction he is attacking from. He will not be successful when you're holding on to the rope of Allah that comes from above, which is the Quran. Reading it, understanding it, contemplating on the message of Allah, and applying it. Not by just putting the Quran on the shelf and expecting it to protect you. Finally, surrender to Allah through your sajda, submitting to Him wholeheartedly, unconditionally with your sajda. Insha'Allah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka imanam mustakhima wa fadlan da'ima ونظر الرحمة وعلما نافعا وأخلا كاملا وقلبا منورا وتوفيقا إحسانا وتوبة نصوحا وصبرا جميلا وأجرا عظيما ولسانا ذاكرا وبدنا صابرا ورزقا واسعا وسعيا مشكورا وذنبا مغفورا وعملا مقبولا ودعاء مستجابا وجنة الفردوس نعيما برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmathullahi wa barakatuh.